Hello, very good morning, and welcome to the judges, teachers, guests, and participants of FRSIS 2022. Now, I'd like to introduce our judges for today. The Chief Judge is Mr. Nick Zahir bin Nick Muhammad Idris, Vice President 2, SVM Society Malaysia. The second judge is Miss Shafika Amira binti Saleh from Sekolah Menengah Sains Pasir Putih. The third judge is Miss Mastina Wati binti Ahmad from Sekolah Menengah Sains Batu Pahat. And I, LJ bin Aziz from Al-Amsha Science School, while the timekeepers Uzairi Hakimi bin Sahizan and Muhammad Alif Nur Iman bin Hamzah from Sekolah Datuk Abdul Razak. Now, allow me to read you the rules. First, each team consists of presenters and a technical assistant. The presentation must focus on the sub-team assigned to the team. The duration of the presentation should not be more than 10 minutes. The bell will be rung once at the 9th minute and twice at the 10th minute. A question and answer session will be conducted after each presentation. Now, I will invite Sekolah Menengah Agama Persatuan
Persekutuan.
Sekolah Menengah Agama Persekutuan Kajang to present.
Bismillah. All right, I would like to thank the panel of judges and the moderators for calling upon me for me to talk today. Okay, so I, Idin Zafri bin Muhammad Mushaini,
And I, Muhammad Yazid Rafi Muhammad Azlan, we are from Sekolah Menengah Agama Persekutuan Kajang.
okay, and today we would like to present to you our research that is titled One Man's Job Loss is Another Man's Career Opportunity. So we know that in 2022, the Malaysian government announced that the COVID-19 pandemic is now considered endemic. This is because the average daily cases in Malaysia are now less than 2,000. Even so, the damage has already been made, as some people worldwide already lost their jobs due to the pandemic. Okay, moving on to the objectives. So firstly, we would like to assess the effects of COVID-19 pandemic to people's source of income. So as we know, people lost their jobs during the pandemic. So we would like to know what are they thinking about it. Okay, moving on. To create awareness about the status of current job holders. So most students in Malaysia are unaware of the status quo of job holders. Therefore, we will, and some of them are even oblivious to their own parents' current situation. Moving on, to explore jobs that rose during the pandemic. So since people lost their jobs, we would like to know what jobs were taken by them. And lastly, to identify what types of occupations were affected by the pandemic. So we would like to identify what jobs were slowed down, emerged, and sustained during the pandemic. Hence, our presentation for today. So, firstly, we refer to documents to make sure our presentation today is at most precise and can be trusted. Secondly, we did some surveying through Reddit and we created Google Form to obtain the opinion of working adults about the stability of their career and thoughts about emergence of new career paths. And we gather more information from trusted websites and news portals regarding the impact of COVID-19 pandemic to working adults. So, first of all, we need to know what is actually COVID-19. So, according to World Health Organization (WHO), coronavirus, mainly known as COVID-19, is an infectious disease caused by SARS-CoV-2 virus. So, most people that is infected by the virus will experience mild to moderate respiratory illnesses, but some people will suffer serious or maybe fatal illnesses. So, but we need to know what is actually pandemic what actually is endemic. So a pandemic is when a disease growth is exponential and it affects several countries, continents, and even the whole world. While pandemic is when it is consistently present but limited to a particular region. For example, Malaysia's current condition. So based on the pictures here, okay, physical distancing, wearing face masks, the prohibition of social gathering are all efforts made by the governments worldwide to overcome the spread of COVID-19. This leads to working from home becoming the new norm, and consequently, made jobs that require face-to-face interaction slow down.
All right, what you are seeing here is a pie chart that we've made using the data that we've gathered from our surveys and our document analysis, and also a Google form that we have given to parents from our school, which is Sekolah Menengah Agama Persekutuan Kajang. So we can see that 40% of the respondents lost their job, but they got the better one after that. 20% received new career opportunity while they are working on the same job. 26.7% of the respondents sustained original careers that they had even before the pandemic. And lastly, and unfortunately, 13.3% lost their occupation and haven't found a new job ever since.
So moving on to our research results. So firstly, I would like to start with jobs that were sustained during the pandemic. So I would like to start with healthcare. Why healthcare? Because healthcare is the most vital part of a country during the pandemic. So healthcare sustained because the growing number of patients that need to be treated during COVID-19. So jobs like doctors and nurses are needed to give treatments to people that have COVID-19 and people that suffers everyday daily illnesses such as common flu and fever. So, okay, pharmacist is here. Okay, why? Because people are flocking the pharmacy, trying to buy medicines, a lot of medicines, to deter COVID-19 themselves at home. Okay, moving on to education. Education sustained why? Because the only thing that changed for them is the medium of educating students. So teachers and professors are still having classes and lectures online. So and principals are still having meetings with the teacher online. So everything happens online because of COVID-19. Therefore, it is sustained. So moving on to defense. So due to the pandemic, people are forced to stay at home. So extroverted people got the urge to socialize, therefore breaking the rule that was passed, which is the prohibition of social gathering. And crimes are still prevalent, even if there is a pandemic or not. So law enforcement such as police, investigators, soldiers are still needed if there is a pandemic, especially if there is a pandemic. Lastly, if a country exists, its money exists. So governments are forced to force economic related people such as bankers, accountants, auditors to continue the work. The only thing that changed is their medium of operation to keep an eye on the country. Okay, moving on to the jobs that slowed down. So I would like to start with the sports industry. So due to COVID-19 making face-to-face interaction discouraged and very infectious, jobs like this make the sports industry slow down because the number of sports events being minimized. So sports instructors, athletes don't feel the importance for them to train every day like they used to because there's no events for them to participate. So moving on to tourism. So due to COVID-19 being very infectious and airborne, people around the world don't get to travel like they used to. So jobs like tour guides and resort managers don't get any customer for them to entertain. And lastly, the background workers in the education system, such as school counselors, librarians, are deemed unnecessary for them to work like they used to before the pandemic due to the closing of schools.
All right, thank you, Eden, for giving me the opportunity to speak. Talking about opportunity, I am going to present you about the opportunity about jobs that emerged during the pandemic. So, as we all know, people are buying a lot of devices during the pandemic. Some people even use 2 or 3 or even more devices to cater to their everyday needs. So, what happens when you have a lot of devices? You are very vulnerable to virus attacks. That is why online techies such as computer scientists and cybersecurity specialists are needed to create a program that is invulnerable to virus attack. So what's the purpose of software developers in these jobs that emerge? Well, software developers are needed to coexist with computer scientists and cybersecurity specialists to create the program that I just mentioned before, which is invulnerable to virus attacks and safe for people daily consume. And second, we would like to talk about social workers. Why social workers? Because people are using their devices every day. They are stuck to their phone or even laptops or even computers every day. Billboards and TV advertising don't work anymore. So brands had to adjust their sales strategy and ask the help of influencers to advertise their product. The influencers, they get something. They get commissions from royalties, they get monies, and they even get more popularities from brands advertising. They will get money. And brands also took the chance, took the initiative to digitize their platform, which made online retailers rise during the pandemic. And lastly, because applications and programs and applications and programs like Fiverr, Toptal, and Guru are getting more sophisticated. So companies have the chance to find the right person for a particular project. So you can find anything in the freelancing community, including computer scientists, cybersecurity specialists, software developers, freelance photographers, and graphic designers. They are all kind of jobs in the freelancing community, which make jobs that emerged during the COVID-19 pandemic is freelancing. Next slide. So in conclusion, we can conclude that COVID-19 is not something that you can take it with one eye closed. You need to look at it closely. Why? Because while there are some people who doesn't care about what is happening outside, this is because they don't feel the devastating effect of the pandemic, which is mainly losing your job. You don't know where is your source of income of the days. And it is up to us who still deeply cares about others, who still know about the current situation of others outside the world, to inform and create awareness to people around the world. And as the saying goes, every cloud has a silver lining. With all due respect, I end my presentation today. Thank you for listening, and when we meet again.
Now, I would like to invite the audience to ask questions. As there are no questions from the audience, we would like to ask the judges to ask questions.
Okay, hi, Assalamualaikum. I'm Teacher Ika, a master teacher from Sains Pasir Putih. And anyway, I wish that could you please tell us more about the survey respondents and whatnot, because you just mentioned survey. So we are quite curious about who were the respondents and who perhaps the age groups and whatnot. How did you decide on the focus group of your survey for your research purpose?
All right, thank you for the question. So first of all, you ask about who is the respondents for the survey. So we took the chance to ask students in Smart Kajang to ask their parents, to give the surveys to their parents for them to answer. So who are the parents and what is our focus when we are surveying? The parents are targeted to be 30 to 60 years old, because 60 is the maximum age for working adults in Malaysia. And after that, we also took the chance to ask teachers from Smart Kajang about their opinion about working adults in the current situation.
Hello. Okay, I have a question. Because the theme is about from pandemic to endemic, right? So from what I look is like most of the jobs are emerged and job loss, right? So now the endemic session you can have a face-to-face session, right? So what is your comment on that? I mean, on the job you said that like just now like sports are not and tourism, and what happened next?
All right, thank you for the question. So, as we all know, the moment our Ministry of Health said, which is Tuan YB Khairi Jamaluddin, said that we are transitioning from pandemic to endemic, it happened in one day. The transitioning, I mean. But the jobs that were lost, the job that was sustained, the job that was slowed down, and the jobs that emerged happened during the pandemic and not during the transitioning of pandemic to endemic. So that is why we are focusing on what happens during the pandemic. And in the end, the effects are still prevalent until today, except for some industries such as sports and tourism. But in terms of education, we can still see that some background workers are deemed not necessary for them to be working as much as before, like school counselors, because school counselors are needed. School counselors need to have face-to-face meeting with students. So, like before the pandemic, we have school counselors meet students anytime during the day. While school counselors nowadays in today's situation, from what I see in SMAP Kajang, is that they have a very strict schedule to meet. If you want to have some breakdown and say something to the school counselors, you need to tell them 1 week, no, 2 or 3 days before the meetings. And from our presentation, we can see that the jobs that slowed down is not lost, but instead they just are not as active as before. And after transitioning to endemic, it start to rise back slowly. Yes, that is all.
Thank you very much. Now, I would like to invite the judges again to give a few comments about the presentation.
So overall, well done. I mean, on the presentation. So far, well done. I mean, on the presentation, we have actually illustrated a lot of information there. Okay, I'm actually really interested on looking because the team is more into endemic. So want to see the transition, what happened during the pandemic and what happens next after that. But maybe you can later on brush up a little bit on that. I don't know whether you have any. Okay, I think that's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, let us invite the next team.
Oh, dah habis.
Good morning and welcome back to the judges, teachers, guests, and participants of FRSIS 2022. Now, I would like to introduce our judges for today. The Chief Judge is Mr. Ningzahe bin Muhammad Idris, Vice President 2, SVM Society, Malaysia. The second judge is Ms. Shafika Amira binti Saleh from Sekolah Menengah Sains Pasir Putih. The third judge is Ms. Mastina Mwati binti Ahmad from Sekolah Menengah Sains Batu Pahat. And I, Wan Alia Sofia binti Wan Azman from Gua Musang Science School, while the timekeepers Uzairi Hakimi bin Sahizan and Muhammad Alif Nur Iman bin Hamzah are from Sekolah Dato Abdul Razak. Now, allow me to read the rules. First, each team should consist of presenters and a technical assistant. The presentation must focus on the sub-team assigned to the team. The duration of the presentation should not be more than 10 minutes. The bell will be rung once, at the 9 minutes, and twice at the 10 minutes. A question and answer session will be conducted after each presentation. Now, I would like to invite Sekolah Menengah Sains Sultan Iskandar to present.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, I need to remind you that we, as human beings, must not depend on tech for our lives because that's a different story. It's so different, in fact, that we had to make a presentation about it, specifically about tech-driven careers. But we are talking about pandemic to endemic style. So, but first and foremost, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Diana Bila binti Wan Muhammad Alimi and I represent Sekolah Menengah Sains Sultan Iskandar. And I am very honored in front of the chief judges, the repertoires, the wise moderators, and the precise timekeepers. Right. Why are we here today? Why are you? Why am I? And why are we here today? Well, let's be honest. The pandemic changed lives, and we are now transitioning to an endemic lifestyle. And we are given the career subtopic. So this is a very important thing for us to focus on. Okay, this is a very important thing for us to focus on because as young leaders, as young students, the future, our career is a very important thing. And as we can see, the pandemic changed lives and lifestyle. So we must know what changed and what should we do to ensure that our future is great and sustainable. First, this is a brief overview of what I'll be talking about today. I'll be introducing and I'll be stating our problems, a literature review so we can get opinions from professionals, our objective for today, our findings and methodologies, and a discussion about what we found and a few implementation because there are still few errors in today's society. Now, onto the introduction. Well, this is a very long text, but let me boil it down for you. Right, what is career and why are we talking about it? As I said before, careers are very important, especially for me and especially for all the students here, because careers, we need them to live. We need them to work, to be happy. We need to work. But as I said before, the pandemic changed things. It changed it so drastically that right now, I'm not sure if my career is going to be available in the next 5 years. And that's scary. So we need to know what we are searching for. All right, next. I'll be talking to you about 3 things: tech-driven careers, career sustainability, and the emergence of new career paths. Because this is very important because tech has already taken over our lives, literally. And as I said before, career sustainability. So what about the third? The emergence of new career paths. Because some careers die. For example, lamppost lighter and knocker up. What are those? Well, those were careers back in the mid-centuries, but we never heard of them because it died. So we need to think carefully of new relevant career paths that I might be interested in and we all might be interested in. Now, what is our problem statement for today? For today, we are going to be asking, is tech-driven careers the way to go? Should I not use tech in my work? Or should I be tech-savvy and be future robotics in my career? Now, carry on forward. we are going to talk about literature review because in the end, we need a brief oversight of the things that some professionals have said. Rowan and Bonafat, 2017, said that digitalization changed the way we work and our workplace. For example, online classes. I never have thought that I'll be learning my classes in my bedroom. That's amazing, I think. So this is clear as day that tech will change things and we need to be careful about it. Now, what is our objective for today? Our objective today is to find out whether tech-driven careers are sustainable career and can tech sprout new relevant careers that is suitable for me and for the community. And finally, our most important objective today is to ensure that I and we choose the right career. Now, the methodology that we use are open-end and closed-end questionnaires. What are those? Well, open-end questionnaires are, what vegetables do you like? There's an infinite amount of answers. Perhaps squash, carrots, etc., etc. And what about closed ends? Closed end is, do you like cucumbers? There, limited answers. We set 16 as the starting age because in recent trends, we see that our own classmates are already working, specifically in the business terms. So I think this is very important for us to look into. Next, our participants are 40% Mersing from 40% are from Mersing, 50 are from Johor Bahru, and 10 are from other states. The total response gotten are 106 respondents. Now, here's the thing we all been waiting for. The results. Now, before we begin, we need to know the usage of tech before and after the pandemic because we can evaluate the transitions and people's feeling towards it. How do they feel towards the transitioning of using tech? Now, as we can see, only 60 participants used tech before the pandemic, and most of them are from government sectors. This proves that 56% of Malaysians use tech in their careers. However, after the COVID hit and after we suffered a long time, there's an increase of amount of people that use tech in their everyday life from 50 to 78. That is now increased our percentage to 20%. That is a lot considering that our participants are also from rural areas. Now, carry on forward. What do they have to say? What do they have to say about this career sustainability? Well, most of our respondents, which is 61 of them, said that their careers became more successful, more sustainable as they use tech, which means that tech saved their careers. They need tech. However, only 5 people said that their career is sustainable even if they don't use tech. Now, this just proves that 57.54 of sustainable careers are using tech. And the trend is going onwards and beyond. Carry on forward to new career paths. This is a very important thing because this is a very important thing because this may open a new road for me and for my classmates. Thus, what does the respondents have to think about this? Well, 88% of our respondents agreed that yes, they want new career paths that are due to tech. Why? Because they said that new career paths that are based on tech allows for better communication, better management, and is very relevant. But as you can see, there's still 12% that don't want new career path based on tech. Why? Well, because they said that they don't have the skills. They prefer face-to-face interactions and others. So, but here's the sad part. There are still a few difficulties faced by the community using tech in their careers. And what are those? 60% struggles with the internet, while 33% thinks that the internet is not being used wisely. And almost half said that, nah, tech is not. I want to meet people. I want to visit my classmates. I want to see them. Because as we learn, we are very because we are a community people. We are very sociable because we still need face-to-face interactions. Now, here are the few implementations that we think of. First is integrated internet skills. If I can do tech and you can't do tech, then maybe we can work together. We cannot force an 80-year-old grandma to learn tech. And this is why it's important because we need a well-rounded economy. People need jobs, so we must not force them the skills of tech, but still, tech is important. Next is enhanced internet optimization. How can we do it? Well, we can create new apps or new devices specifically for that job. For example, I do not feel really comfortable learning in Telegram because it mixes up between my social context and my teachers. That's not a very good thing to see every morning. And finally, careful planning. In the end, even as prepared as we are, we still need careful planning because careful planning ensures a smooth sailing work style and even in times of crisis. Thus, what did we get today? Well, we learned that yes, tech is going to take over our life and we need it, but we need to change it because tech is very important for our career sustainability and it can sprout new relevant career paths. With that, thank you.
Now, I would like to invite the audiences to ask any questions. The maximum questions that can be given is 2. As there is no questions coming from the audiences, I would like to invite the judges to give out their questions.
All right. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My question is, just now for the implementations, you mentioned careful planning, right? But you did not explain how you are going to have this careful planning, or what are the suggestions for the planning that you want to carry out to make sure that your suggestions just now will be successful. Can you please explain to us about that careful planning? Thank you very much.
All right, thank you for the questions. Well, as we've seen before, even if we have enough resources, we are still not prepared for the upcoming pandemic or upcoming crisis. Thus, we need careful planning. And what are those? Well, perhaps at the emergency services, a ready stock up warehouse, and perhaps even volunteers ready on the go and some emergencies communication. Because careful planning is indeed important, but it's not only in emergency circumstances. Careful planning is also needed in normal workplaces. Teachers are not fond of sudden messages and sudden notice. We need careful planning. We need to hit them up first to notice them quite early on for their notice. Thus, this is what I meant by careful planning. Thank you.
Now, again, I would like to invite the judges to give out a comment to the presenter.
Okay, overall the presentation is good and well presented. Okay, well done. I just have one comment. I mean, not comment actually. It's about knowledge sharing. Because I'm in the industrial background, so roughly we do use a lot of tech. Okay, for our in the daily job. For example, like we have supported and deal with some oleochemical plants in Johor. So we are based in Selangor, right? So we need to actually use a lot of tech, a remote access, and also we and then now, okay, can you hear now? Okay. So it's like sometimes places like where there is a very hazardous place, very dangerous to come in. So you need some techs like some sensors, which you can actually monitor the. For example, you take the vibration readings, right? So you can actually monitor from remotely. So you can actually sit in this place and then you monitor what's going on using camera or using any sensors, right? Those are techs. So I will agree with you that tech is very important nowadays. Thank you.
Thank you to the presenter from Sekolah Menengah Sains Sultan Iskandar. And we'll be back in 5 minutes.
Water. I'm sorry, sorry.
Good morning and welcome to the judges, teachers, guests, and participants of FRSIS 2022. Now, I'd like to introduce our judges for today. The Chief Judge is Mr. Nik Zahir bin Nik Muhammad Idrus, Vice President to SVM Society Malaysia. The second judge is Ms. Shafika Amira binti Saleh from SM Science Pasir Puteh. The third judge is Ms. Mastinawati binti Ahmad from SM Science Batu Pahat. And I, Eldri from Alam Shah Science School, while the timekeepers Uzairi Hakimi bin Sahizan and Muhammad Alif Nur Iman bin Hamzah from Sekolah Dato' Abdul Razak. Now, allow me to read the rules. Each team should consist of presenters and a technical assistant. The presentation must focus on the sub-theme assigned to the team. The duration of the presentation should not be more than 10 minutes. A bell will be rung once at the 9th minute and twice at the 10th minute. A question and answer session will be conducted after each presentation. Now, I would like to invite Sekolah Menengah Sains Tuanku Syed Putra to present.
Since in the end of December 2019, our country Malaysia has been shaken by an epidemic that has infected many people. Not only our country Malaysia that has been affected, but the whole world.
Because of this, many people have been impacted, not just in terms of the health, but also in terms of the career.
Assalamualaikum and good morning.
We be to the honorable judges, fellow colleagues, wise timekeepers, and fellow audience.
I am Ainul Inshira.
And I am Muhammad Hazi Haikal. We are representative from Sekolah Menengah Sains Tuanku Syed Putra. Now, let's dive into our topic on the effect of COVID-19 pandemic towards career perception and expectation of secondary school students in Malaysia.
Under the sub-theme of career sustainability and the emergence of new career paths. Allow me to introduce our hardworking teammate, Aina Khairan Nisa, Hazik Haikal, Ainul Nishira, which is me, Izul Iman, and Miss Ko.
Before we further our journey, allow me to tell you an interesting story. In the wake of COVID-19 pandemic, every layer of society has been affected differently. One of my acquaintance's father was a hardworking businessman. Since the pandemic hit the world, his company struggled with financial difficulties and could no longer pay for the salaries. He even can't go to his workplace and was advised to stay at home. To overcome this problem, he started to do side businesses in order to sustain the family. Even though it was bumpy at first, they finally adapted to it now.
Alhamdulillah, on 1st April 2022, our country Malaysia has succeeded in making changes where we have moved out from pandemic phases to endemic phases. Every research must have its own main objective. Well, it is just same as us. We also have our main objective and our own target that we want to reach at the end of this research.
Our objective is to identify how people are adapting to the new environment and ways of working post-COVID-19 regarding career perception.
Well, may I know what you thought about career perception at a first glance? Well, career perception means an aspiration of students of what they want to be and what they want to achieve in the future.
The definition is actually taken from previous research on career perceptions of students by Sandra Sarawatis. You may be wondering why this is important to us. Well, for one thing, every one of us would like to have a job in the future. Thus, it is critical that we pick the best employment so that we love what we do.
We've done this research by using two methods, which we have distributed some questionnaire to several secondary schools in Malaysia, and we also have interviewed some students from various age.
A total of 170 responses were gathered from the first method. The questionnaire consists of 11 questions with a 5-letter scale, with the options starting from strongly disagree, disagree, neutral, agree, and strongly agree.
From this research, we have received 117 responses, and from the 117 responses, we found that most of the respondents are 17 years old. The students has been exposed to the challenges that they will face from careers that they have chosen.
Respondents' opinion were taken in order to determine their expectation regarding fixed working hours. The majority of them do agree that fixed working hours still remain important, followed by neutral responses. We believe that this happened because students want to have their own personal time, even though they choose to work from home. Since the pandemic hit the world, they often the fixed working they want to have personal time at home.
Moving on, next slide. For the third question, we have asked them whether COVID-19 had effects towards their ambitions. For this question, we have received 33.3% of them agree with the statement, 35.9% of them say it's neutral, 11.1% of them disagree, and 12.8% of them strongly agree. The statistics explain possibility for students to lose interest in their previous ambition. This might be due to the fact that they were more comfortable working from home, which certain careers couldn't make it possible.
The next question, we asked the respondent how often they think to change their ambition. The graphic reveals a significant disparity with 1 to 2 times option being dominating. 2.2% of the respondent stating they have no intention to change their ambition. We assume that students have lost self-esteem, making them doubtful about their abilities since they're staying at home. They stay at home. Apa?
As we mentioned earlier, we have done this research by using two methods. Now, let's go through the second method, which is an interview. A total of 25 students from our school has been chosen as interviewees of these studies in order to gain their opinions and get more detailed answers.
For the first question, we asked the interviewees if the skills gap is important for future employment. It's okay.
It is the most important aspect in doing a specific job or work.
Important for our work. Kind of good at computing and stuff, so I can take parts in IT, software engineering and stuff.
With this, we can conclude that skill set is important in order to pursue our career.
As we all know, we cannot leave our home during MCO, right? All the work must be done from home. Only in certain situations we will be allowed to leave our houses. Because of this, the students have developed to the new working environment and grew fond of it. Let's listen to some of our interviewees' opinions.
Due to the fact that most people are lazy, and it comes from being isolated at home for a long period of time.
It helps them to overcome their problems. They are in their comfortable environment, so they cannot be judged for doing things.
And doesn't like to communicate with people outside.
It has become their comfortable place to work for.
As the last question, we asked them if they're going to be any career with the rises of career path. First, let's hear what they thought.
New career path will make a lot of people who has hidden skill sets or more largely unknown skill sets be known to more people. This will make them get more work.
Yes, because more career mean more working opportunity for can have job so they can maintain their lives.
Based on their answers, we can conclude that the answers were related to food delivering service which sparked in the midst of pandemic. For instance, food delivering service like Food Panda and GrabFood were highly popular during the pandemic. This, with the increase in demand, those who were fired from their previous job will have more working opportunities.
At the end, we can summarize that COVID-19 has brought impact for the students' career perception and expectations. According to our conducted questionnaire, 77.7% of the students changed their ambition at least once. This can be a solid proof that students develop more negative feelings during movement control or their MCO. For instance, they have lost confidence within themselves, so afraid to socialize with others, frustrated, and stressed.
However, the second summary is that students are prepared for the new working environment in which they already know the challenge that they are facing in the chosen career.
I think that's all from us, right, Hazi?
Yes, that's right.
If that's so, till we meet again next time, thank you and salam seputra juara gemilang.
Now, I would like to invite the audience to ask questions. A maximum of 2 questions can be asked.
You answer.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Yana Bila. I am from Sekolah Menengah Sains Sultan Iskandar, and I have a question, which is you talked about students preferring to work at home after the pandemic, but should students do that, or should students go to a workplace, or should they stay home?
Okay, thank you for the question. As we stated, most of the students has adapted to the new working environment, which is for the last 2 years, most of their parents are working from home, so they have looked to their parents working at home and others. So they have so the possibility for them to working from home is high. Yeah.
Now, I would like to invite the judges to give a few comments about the presentation.
Hi, first of all, congratulations on the good presentation. Quite nervous there, you could see that, but it was fine. Nonetheless, I think what the choice of your topic was very on trialing, I would say, because not many people would actually seek to find out about students' perception on their future. So that was a good choice of topic, and that was quite eye-opening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and we will be back after a short break.
morning and welcome back to the judges, teachers, guests, and participants of FRSIS 2022. Now, I would like to introduce our judges for today. The Chief Judge is Mr. Nik Zahir bin Nik Muhammad Idris, Vice President 2 of SYMPOSIUM Society, Malaysia. The second judge is Ms. Syafiqah Amira binti Saleh from Sekolah Menengah Sains Pasir Putih. The third judge is Ms. Mastina Wati binti Ahmad from Sekolah Menengah Sains Batu Pahat. And I, Wan Alia Sofia from Gua Musang Science School, while the timekeeper, Uzairi Hakimi bin Sahizan, and Muhammad Alif Nur Iman bin Hamzah are from Sekolah Datuk Abdul Razak. Now, allow me to read the rules. Each team should consist of presenters and a technical assistant. The presentation must focus on the sub-team assigned to the team. The duration of the presentation should not be more than 10 minutes. The bell will be rung once at the 9 minutes and twice at the 10 minutes. A question and answer session will be conducted after each presentation. Now, I would like to invite Sekolah Sultan Ahmad Shah Pekan to present.
Assalamualaikum and a very pleasant morning. We bid to the moderators, the honorable educators, the wise timekeeper, teachers and friends. We are honored to present our school to the 10th Fully Residential School International Symposium 2022. We are proud to present Reshaping the Future Post-Pandemic Sustainability. First and foremost, let me introduce ourselves. I am Damia Mirza.
And I am Damia Christina, together with
And I am Haziq Amshah.
under the supervision of Mr. Wan Hairul Hazmi bin Wan Ahmad.
The global coronavirus pandemic, which has already caused unimaginable devastation and hardship, has brought our way of life into an almost complete halt. The COVID-19 pandemic has turned the world of work upside down. It is having a dramatic effect on jobs, livelihoods, the well-being of workers, their families, and also enterprises across the globe, particularly in small and medium size. While certain sectors and industry have successfully moved online, pointing the way towards exciting innovations. In the world of work, millions of workers have lost their livelihoods and many more.
the COVID-19 health crisis has turned into a global economic crisis, putting at risk the health, jobs, and incomes of millions of people around the world. As the coronavirus spread around the world, millions of workers lost part or all of their incomes. It has radically changed the way people live and work.
While most studies have focused on prevailing negative consequences, potential positive shifts in everyday life have received less attention. Thus, we examine the actual and perceive the overall impact of COVID-19 crisis on work and private life. The outbreak will have profound and lasting economic and social consequences in every corner of the globe.
Research of peer-reviewed journals, articles, books, interviews, and web pages are used to review the literature on reshaping the future post-pandemic sustainability.
We had an interview session with Director of Integrated Psychology Network Sedian Berhad and Eliza Muhammad as Director and Organization Consulting. Let us view the video.
Everybody who is in attendance today, thank you very much for inviting me to be part of this event that you have today. Let me just introduce myself. My name is Eliza Muhammad. I am Director of Integrated Psychology Network Sedian Berhad, a company that has been in the country for 30 years. Prior to this, I was a COO of a subsidiary of Khazanah Nasional Berhad, and I've been involved in very large corporate restructuring, which involves Malaysian Airlines last time, affecting about 8,000 people. So all in all, in terms of experience, I have about 30 years experience in the space of career management, coaching, and the evolution of workplace, as well as career demand in the last several years and moving forward in terms of future. So what we have seen is not about career change, but it's more about the way of work that change as a result of the emergence and the immersion of technology in our lives right now.
So, one thing we all can learn from this past year after being forced to adapt to specific ways of work is how best we work. The pandemic has been experiment like no others, a vehicle to understand what we need to thrive in our job and what mode of working is best for our suited temperament.
Over the past year, we've all heard that we should be preparing for the new norm, but what that means or when it will start is unclear. During the pandemic, there are some professionals that had to put their career aspirations on the back burner as they are dealt with unexpected healthcare and childcare responsibilities. And many others may feel that their hard-fought career progression stalled because of unpredictable outside forces, including company and industry disruptions.
It's clearly too soon to declare an end to the pandemic. But as vaccination takes hold and at least some countries and regions begin to open up, we remain hopeful about the potential changes on the horizon. Now is a useful time to begin asking yourself how to take back control over your career. Indeed, in our own research, we found that an opportunistic mindset is one of the foundation traits underlying entrepreneurial talent.
Next, these are 5 shifts that look set to endure. First, restructuring companies for efficiency. Changes of, changes of industry structure and disruption to model business have encouraged companies to restructure for relevance and competitiveness. Companies such as General Electric have split, while others have responded with mergers, as in the case of Tata Group.
The second one is a shift to skill-based hiring. Faced with the need to deliver short to medium-term results, companies are increasingly hiring for skills backed with experience and less for potential. This has led to a decline in graduate recruitment. Many companies, many employers are eliminating degrees from their hiring criteria in favor of skill assessment. Only 11% of business leaders strongly agree that students are graduating from higher education with the necessary competencies.
The third one is mobility of talent. The global war of talent skill has led to massive opportunity for some workers to move across jobs, industries, and countries.
Next, the rise of work and the decline of employment. The rise of platform companies has fundamentally changed the rules of employment. Job seekers in companies in regions most affected by high unemployment rate most broaden their horizon beyond the search of employment opportunities to exploring work opportunities. Regulators of industry dominated by platform companies that need to push for benefit to be used to work opportunities, not just employment, but to protect interests of workers.
The last one is the central importance of digital skills. The digital skills have already changed the industries in many ways. Many companies, many organizations across all sectors, from agribusiness, finance, and manufacturing to media, are evolving into technology companies. In this then, in this context, the digital the I'm sorry. I'm sorry. In this context, employability is not just about soft skills such as communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and emotional intelligence. As digital platform in AI application, robotics, and the Internet of Things make inroads into the workplace, many employability skills will be increasingly centered around using these digital technologies. In short, there's a very real possibility that thanks to the greater flexibility and opportunities far more enabled by this crisis, far more professionals may have the opportunities to craft work and careers they truly enjoy.
As Antonio Gramsci, a great political theorist once noted, a crisis consists precisely in the fact that the old is dying and the new cannot be born. In this interregnum, a variety of morbid symptoms appear.
The past year has been challenging and discomforting in so many ways, but we are optimistic that it might yet give birth to something new and something better. That's all from us.
Shah,
where
where
excellence
excellence is created. Thank you.
I would like to invite the audiences to ask questions. The maximum questions that can be given are 2.
Yes. All right. My name is Muhammad Azad Fifi from SME Persatuan Kajang. So, as we all know, during the pandemic, a lot of people have lost their jobs, and after the pandemic, the jobs are rising in demand. But at the same time, a lot of people doesn't meet the requirements, like just you said, right? So, my question is, if you are the government or if you are a student, how would you recommend or how is your opinion on how the government can use its resources that has been shifted to using it after the endemic to fill people who has unemployment instead in this current situation? Thank you.
Thank you for the question, but we are sorry that we can't produce the answer for your question.
Now, I would like to invite the judges to give out a comment to the presenters.
Hi, we actually have a question. In your abstract, you mentioned that you have also carried out a survey and some questionnaires, if I'm not wrong. Right, okay, but you didn't mention anything about those in your presentation. Could you please brief us more so that we can understand your research better?
All right, for the question, for me, based on the question, right, the interview session we had is for the new career path. So the main focus here is about the how after COVID, for the endemic, what is the new pandemic, what is the new jobs that we have in this world after the pandemic. So is that answering my question? Is that answering your question?
All right, so it's time for the judges to give comments. So it looks like that the three judges have the same opinions on your presentations. Okay, first of all, it was a good presentation actually. You have points that you want to tell us about your topic that you want to bring today. Okay, it's just that next time, make sure whatever your presentation is aligned with your abstract. Okay, because the judges will have to read your abstract first. Okay, we have the idea of what you are going to present to us. And we are expecting the one that you mentioned in the abstract to be in your presentation. That's number one. Number two, if you have any interviews that you want to show to us, you don't have to show the interviews to us. You can just quote from the person because that one is time wasting. All right, we don't want to listen to the interview. We want to listen to how you take that interview, you put that into your presentation, it relates with your topic. That is what we want to see. Okay, we don't want to listen. It also referring to the previous presentation also because you show to us videos that we don't think we want to see that. We want to see how the interviews relate to your presentation. You just have to quote whoever you do the interview to kan. Okay, that's all. You don't have to like mention this person and then you let us listen to the interviews. It's time wasting actually. For us, maybe you want us to listen or that one is one part of where you can waste time so that you don't have to present in 10 minutes. You want to like tak payah 10 minutes, so we let them listen to this interview. So it will affect marks also, right? So thank you very much.
Right, thank you.
Thank you to Sekolah Sains Sultan Ahmad Shah Pekan, and we'll be back shortly after 5 minutes break.
Welcome to the judges, teachers, guests, and participants of FRSIS 2022. Now, I'd like to introduce our judges for today. The Chief Judge is Mr. Nick Zahir bin Nick Mohan Idris, Vice President 2 of SVM Society Malaysia. The second judge is Ms. Shafika Amira binti Saleh from SM Science Pasir Puteh. The third judge is Ms. Mastinawati bin Ahmad from SM Science Batu Pahat. And I, LG from Alam Shah Science School, while the timekeepers, Uzairi Hakimi bin Saizan and Muhammad Alif Nur Iman bin Hamzah, are from Sekolah Dato Abdul Razak. Now, allow me to read the rules. Each team should consist of presenters and a technical assistant. The presentation must focus on the sub-theme assigned to the team. The duration of the presentation should not be more than 10 minutes. The bell will be rung once at the 9th minute and twice at the 10th minute. A question and answer session will be conducted after each presentation. Now, I would like to invite Experimental School of Science Education to present.
Good morning, teachers and students. It's a pleasure to be here today to present to you our study. So let's begin. Our presentation includes 3 parts, with the first one being career sustainability and its connection to SDG 9. The second part is about how the pandemic impacts on the career landscape and career trends. And the third part is going to be about Vietnamese students and how prepared they are for a post-COVID future of work. So let's begin our presentation.
The first part would be career sustainability and its connection to SDG 9. So what is career sustainability? According to the Research Handbook in Business and Management series, a career sustainability is aligned with your interests, strengths, and values and offer ongoing learning and renewal. A career sustainability is enable you to stay healthy, happy, productive, and deployable throughout the span and fits in your life at every stage. The state of our environment and the social system and the revival of COVID-19 have made more and more people aware of the needs for humanity to change courses for utmost objectives, sustainability, in which career sustainability is considerably accounted for. So what about SDG 9? What is Sustainable Development Goal 9? SDG 9 seeks to build resilient infrastructures, promote inclusive and sustainable industrialization, and foster innovation. The COVID-19 has demonstrated the importance of industrialization, technological innovation, and resilient infrastructures in building back better and achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. SDG 9 is interlinked with job creations, job opportunities for women and youth, and job growth. Let's take the opportunity of SDG 9 to driven our career sustainability. Next, please welcome Phương Chi, who will be starting the second part.
Moving on to our second part, we're going to talk about the impacts of the pandemic on the career landscape and career trends. The pandemic has accelerated various trends that may reshape the career landscape after the pandemic recedes. And one of the most obvious changes is flexible work. According to a survey by ADP Research Institutes, 71% of workers would like to work with more flexibility. And we are also going to talk about the various some of the trends that are the most significant during and post-pandemic. So the first trend is digital transformation, followed by the rise in automation and the emergence of hybrid work. So let's start with our first trend. Digital transformation. So according to Microsoft, COVID-19 and the economic crisis that it unleashed have added around 250 million roles to the global unemployment rolls. However, this disruption has also accelerated digitalization, which Microsoft projects will create around 149 million jobs within the next 5 years. Here on the pie charts are some digital jobs that the global economy will need to fill by 2025. Moving on to our second trend, the rise in automation. The future of jobs projects that by 2025, the hours of work performed by machine and people will be almost equal, and that around 85 million roles are set to be replaced by automation, primarily across manual and repetitive roles spanning both blue collar and white collar jobs. COVID 19 has also accelerated the adoption of AI and automation, especially in work arenas with high physical proximity. Data scientists, robotic engineers, AI and machine learning specialists are predicted to be some of the most in-demand roles within the next 5 years. Moving on to our third trend, the emergence of hybrid work, which is perhaps one of the most significant trend during and post-pandemic. Hybrid work has shown efficiency, even though it only began as an alternative to restricted on-site work. It has shown efficiency as it creates a better work-life balance for workers and allow them to work with more flexibility. According to a survey by McKinsey, as you can see on our slide, prior to the pandemic, 2/3 of employees interviewed preferred working fully on site. However, as of now, half of those interviewed say that they would like to continue hybrid work in the future, while only 37% still wish to work fully on site. Let's move on to our third part.
In order to grasp whether students in Vietnam have been well prepared for post-COVID future of work, our team conducted a survey and research sources. The objective of our survey is to gather the people's opinion on how to prepare for the post-COVID future of work. 64% respondents believe technology sustainably affects the area of study and future job and see it as an opportunity for them to upskill accordingly. Out of other crucial skills such as language, problem solving, creativity, and analysis, 78% respondents indicate that learning and digital are the most relevant skills for their future career. 87% respondents said that they would have felt more prepared for the workforce if they had participated in more internships to build up more professional experience and personal development plans during schooling. We witnessed a mindset change in the youth of Vietnam from traditional theoretical learning approach. Now, Vietnamese students acknowledge that they have to prepare themselves with practical, professional, vocational skills and experience, especially in such a post-COVID time right now. So, how and from where the student can get well prepared for the post-COVID future of work? Our research and collection of information shows that the skill learning platform provided for students come from both schools and businesses. Many schools in Vietnam have applied experience-based and skill-based learning for students, such as excursions, adventures and wellness trips, studios, laboratories, workshops, role plays, case study approaches, and computer simulations. Active participation in this activity during schooling are helping students to build up experience and skills for their future career sustainability. This is our school, Experimental School of Education and Science. Our school also applies the STEAM education in the academic program and conduct many STEM fair for students. Through that, we can gain much more crucial skills and experience for our future career, such as creativity, teamwork, communication skills, critical thinking skills, and curiosity. The businesses in Vietnam also need a capable workforce to develop sustainably in the future. So they need to cooperate with schools to provide on-the-job training and work placement to fill skill gaps for students and get them ready for future employability. We also refer to the expert's opinion. Mr. Trần Anh Tuấn, Human Resource Forecaster, Vice Chairman of Ho Chi Minh City Vocational Education Association. He pointed out that the biggest limitation of Vietnamese students is that they don't understand themselves and don't understand the labor market. Sharing from skills student needs for a future, the expert said, apart from the skills mentioned from the survey results above, the very first skill students need to learn is to understand the labor market, to choose a suitable job with one's own ability. Understanding the labor market will help the students to make the right decisions in future education and future career.
Digitalization, AI, the adoption of AI and automation are only some of the numerous trends that are happening within the labor markets. Therefore, proactively identifying skill gaps, reskilling and upskilling will help prepare students the best for a future of work after the pandemic. As Charles Darwin once said, is not the strongest of species that survive, nor the most intelligent, but the one most adaptable to change. And lastly, we'd like to thank you, students and teachers and students, for giving us an opportunity to dive into a topic which has given us insights into what our future of work might look like. Thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoyed our presentation.
Now, I would like to invite the audience to ask questions. The maximum of 2 questions can be asked.
Yes. All right. Hi. I am from. My name is Muhammad Azad Fifi, and I am from Ismail Kajang. I am very honored to be asking you, the Vietnamese participants, the delegates from Vietnam. So you've been talking about changes, and humans, the one who will strive the most, are the one that can adapt. But I want to ask you how the Vietnam government did to students that can't adapt to changes, and what happened to them in the current situation, in the current pandemic? Thank you.
Well, to answer that question, in Vietnam, like many parts of Southeast Asia, there are a lot of rural areas where students don't have a lot of access to the internet and technology. Therefore, as the COVID-19 hit our country, the government has set out many programs and fundings in order to donate and give those students in those areas some devices and give them the chance to learn hybridly. And that's only one thing. Another thing is that they also put out many. They also set up a lot of campaigns in order to promote help across the country, in order to gain help and to provide the best for those who are in need.
I have another question. I think when you began presenting us the outcome of your research, the survey, I think what I saw, you showed the response to the question where how students think that the current curriculum prepares them with for the job for later years of working, and the response that was found was almost 50-50. So half agreed that it helps and it prepares them, while the other half believe that it is not helpful much in terms of preparing them for work later. But then you presented to us that your school especially has actually devised several wonderful programs that are very helpful in terms of preparing students with the skill sets and whatnot. So could you brief us a bit more on why do you think half of your respondents believe that it is not very helpful for them? Thank you.
In my opinion, I think the subjects technology affects a lot in their subject, while the half others think that the technology doesn't affect their future career because they haven't have a lot of contact with it. A school is divided into two groups. One is one's working a lot with technology, and one while the other ones don't. So I think we survey more than 1,000 people in a school. So I think it's divided into these two almost perfect habits. That's my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you to Experimental School of Education Science for the presentation. Now, I would like to thank the judges for their time. Also, the presenters for their thought-provoking presentation. So that's all for our session for now. Thank you very much.